Now welcome back. Oh. As we don't see JavaScript syntax they work for the last video, make we see how we fit dey even create variables for JavaScript. So if we look VS Code like this, you go see say we get the way we take create that number 10 where we dey see for there. And you get the way we take say even console log that number 10. Well, that now the ways where we say we fit create variables for JavaScript. You see get other ways and more modern ways where we say we fit create variables for JavaScript. This variable now the var keyword now we dey use. That var na keyword. Keywords na words wey be say if you dey use JavaScript, you no go fit use those words. Na JavaScript gangan na dey use those words. So if I come say okay, var something, then JavaScript too come say, oh okay, this na variable this guy wan create. Now the reason why we get 3 different ways of making variables, var they use them from that 1995 time till about 2015. 9 people they use that var keyword. So you go to see code where be say people they use them like that. Let's say we want add another variable to this variable where they here. So we go say okay, we want var. What I would like to do now, say I go like rename these variables. So make we just rename that num1 like number 1, right? And I go just say number 2. This number 2 make it be 5, right? Now if I want add them for JavaScript, I feel just say console log num1 plus num2. If I don't do them like this, press save, it go calculate the answer. Remember, say we don't calculate them one time for here. It go calculate the answer and it go give me say the answer na 15 for there. But if you want var num3 go come equals to this answer for here, this console log where we do, and then we go just cut that and paste that here. So if we do it like this now, what we dey talk be say we want make this one, this variable number 3, we want to assign them to this variable for here. So we just want to say okay, this var make the variable's name, make it just be for this variable only, this variable number 3 or num3, make it just be that name all the time. So if we say console log num3 and I press save, it go still give me say this num3 na 15. I can even say okay, I want make it just tell me say num3 na 15. So I go just put them for quotes and then I could just write num3 again for here and it could just tell me say this na num3, right? So anytime we say we want create variable, we go remember to the declare them. Remember to the declare them, to the declare them, to the declare them. Now you get other ways where we say if you declare variable. If, for example, if you declare them like this now, if you just say var a comma b comma c, and then this abc, you go just close them. Don't forget put your semicolon there. And once you do them like that, you notice say no error show, nothing happen. So if I say okay, I want console log this one, I want console log a, but if I console log them, because I know assign them to anything like this, I get undefined, which is still value. We go get to this part later on. So the thing is say, whenever you define a variable, it is stay for memory. So always remember, you need to define variable and then you need to consume that variable. Because right now, I dey consume this variable. Now let's now the new way of creating variables. So if I want to name this variable let, I could just come say let, like to let, but not just let. So this let now, if I press save, you go see say it still dey work just like var. Nothing changed, nothing spoiled for the code. That na because this let now the new way of declaring variables. This one where they here now the old way of declaring variables. So make we quickly assign these variables to all the things where they need. So what we need, we say we go like say, all right, make this A and this B, make them mean something. So if you say okay, let A, so make I just say A equals to dollar. Then make I save am, and you can see say now this name or this A don't turn to dollar. Now not be because I dey use this A, if it be number, if it be anything. And for example, I fit just call this A anything. I fit just call am say 300. I fit make am number, I fit make am arrays and all that good stuff. But we go reach all those side later. Another way we say we fit do am be say we fit say okay, we want reassign the value to RAM. And that's why let dey, because they let you mutate value. For example, I could just say, okay, instead of using this ABC here, make we come out that. Then I could say A and set, make we close that there, colon, and then semicolon. And then I go say A equals to 400. And if I press am, which one you think say go work? Make we see. So if I press this, you go see say 400 they work. That's because JavaScript they run from top to bottom. So even if I say, okay, making this A, this 400 go on top this 300. So if I say I don't add this keyword, it go even give me error. So if I save them, it go tell me say you don't even know waiting this A be, because JavaScript they run from top to the bottom of the code. You can even change the value with this let keyword. So I can even change them again and say okay, A equals 500 also. I can say that too. And if I say 500, which value you think say the thing will give me now? So the value, because now this one will do the bottom, the value will go always give me. Now the last one will do the bottom, now it go give me. So always keep that in mind. If I move this 500 up above the 400 and I press save, it will give me 400. Because 400 now the last value where they under. Does it make sense? So what we're going to do be say, we go con the day very cautious how we they change our value. What if we want, you even don't know sometimes, that now where JavaScript can help us, this new version of JavaScript can create the const keyword. We can say const, and this const just means say na constant. Constant means say e no fit change. Na value wey be say you want am and you no ever wan make e change. You just want the user and they read information. You just want the user and they know wetin something be whenever that something be. Whenever you call and say na him be this, so na him be that. And that thing you go dey use and they represent wetin you want do in memory. You go dey use and they represent for your code. You go dey use and they represent values and all that. So when we write this const keyword now, you see say I don't get this error for here. And you see say this error, they tell you say, wetin dey happen? VS Code already say A dey here and A dey here. It says cannot redeclare a block scope variable. Now we never reach the scope side of variables, but wetin I go tell you be say, because we cannot read the value again, that na why JavaScript come dey tell us say, oh yeah, oh boy, you need to change me, you need to change my name. So I feel say, okay, this value, make this value be B. And now you can see say the error don't jar. Okay. Come out this one for here, make we come out this code, and then make we just say A and B, right, as two variables. If I done like that, you can see say our code don't dey show us which one be A and which one be B. So waiting we they do be say, we they check, we they use this constant, they read the value all the time. So if I say, okay, now I want redefine, because we dey use constant, if I say B, like we do with this A, I can't say B again, no, this B now, I want to change that to 6,000. Now, I can't put another 0 for there, press save. You go see say, we get a type error. And that's now because say we dey try assign value to a constant. E no dey possible. Now read values, now we dey use constant dey do. So what if we do with them? Well, like we just did for here, we fit just console log them, right? If you add them to functions, if you add them, do anything with them, add them for array, add them for anywhere you want. But you just know say that value now waiting to be and now waiting to be. So a lot of times you go to see things for internet, you go to see let. You no go to see this var anymore, but you go to see them, but now for older versions of code. So make we clean this code up a bit now. Make we clean all this ABC where we get for here. And then these vars, make we change them to lets. I could just highlight everything by pressing Ctrl D, then I could just change all of them to lets, because I find that it only work as we expect. Another thing we fit do for here, we fit just say this go be const, and we no go change the value. So if I save them and say I want console log this, so I'll say I want console log num3, so I'll say num3. And if I press save, it's still give me that same 15. Even though I call num3 here and I add them for here, it's still they work. So even if I come here and I say, okay, now be this, now here be the let's, it still they work. So if I say, okay, this number 5 will also be const num2, and then you go see say it still they work. So always keep in mind, say if you work like this, and also this also still be constant. So if you say const and press save, and it still they work. Then because we know they change the values. But the moment I say const num4, which we go erase now, let's say num4, or we go say num3, sorry, we say num3. The moment I say that, TypeScript don't shout for me. So the moment I say num3 and they equals to whatever I want to name it to, whatever, it goes 200 or whatever name number, it go give me error. Say identifier num3 is already being declared. So always watch out for all these errors. Now the errors now going to help us today read the mistake where we they make for this computer when no understand us. Remember, say I tell you now, say computer na mumu. So make we just quickly clean up this our code and remove this, right? And that should fix that error as we get our 15 here. But for now, that's all we need to learn. I will see you now for the next video. Thank you.